Alright, in this video I'm going to be going over what is over-constraining. Over-constraining means that there are too many constraints applied to a sketch, that there are more constraints applied to the sketch than the sketch needs to be fully constrained. Over-constraining means that the sketch applied don't work together and you need to remove one or more constraints to get the sketch working and to find other ways to constrain if needed. Why is it bad to have an over-constrained sketch? If you have an over-constrained sketch, it's basically broken and will have unpredictable behavior. Your goal should always have a fully constrained sketch. Once you are done with the sketch, to get a predictable workflow. Your goal should always be to have a fully constrained sketch once you are done with the sketch to get a predictable workflow. If some of the constraints conflict, the sketch dimensions may not be what you expect. If you have a simple design, it probably won't matter at all, but in more complex designs, it will come back to bite you. If you have an over-constrained sketch, it's basically broken and will have unpredictable behavior. Over-constrained sketches cannot be modified parametrically, since by definition, at least one of its points will have conflicting constraints. The reason you don't want an over-constrained sketch is the same reason you don't want an under-constrained one, because wacky stuff can happen when you try and turn it into a 3D model. When the sketch becomes over-constrained, it can no longer recalculate correctly. If one of the constraints is edited, it's just best practice to have a fully constrained sketch, so it's less likely to break when you go in and change things. If some of the constraints conflict, the sketch dimensions may not be what you expect. So what happens when you have a over-constrained sketch? So let's just 50 by 25, done. Okay. Now if I go in here and I go to dimensions and I go bang and come on. There we go, over constrained. So when it turns orange, it's telling me that it's over constrained. So there you go. That is what over constraining means.